I am Theresa. I am the owner and artisan over here at NTS Design Co. And I go live with you guys every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. over here on the YouTube page on Dixie Belle. So today we're going to have some fun today. Let me back you up just a smidge. And we're going to be painting this beautiful 1920s Lane chest. This thing is in pristine condition. She's absolutely gorgeous. I'm so excited about how beautiful she actually is and how great condition that she is. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining me this morning. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little background about her. So she is a lane chest and she has a locking mechanism. And so when any of these chests has a locking mechanism, you have to remove that because a child can get in here and get stuck. So you can write to the company and they will send you a new latch, or you can just simply just remove the latch yourself. So what I did is I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to take the top portion of this off because I really like this part down here. It's got like a little keyhole. It's super cute. So I added this beautiful emblem right here in the front. It's a piece of wood you bend. And we painted a beautiful base coat on her in sawmill gravy. Good morning, Jeannie. How are you? Thank you. So pretty, right? She's absolutely gorgeous. I love her fat little chunkiness to her. I just love these things. They're so beautiful. You can put them in an entryway to sit down and put your shoes on. You can put it at the end of a guest room bed to keep blankets and pillows and like towels and like a little welcome basket with like just some little tchotchkes that someone would need, like some hand soaps and like deodorant, little things that people would forget that you would have in a guest room. Or you can just put it at the end of your bed and store your pillows in it in the evening and things like that. So these chests are so versatile. They are making a comeback. I love them. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. I paint a lot of them, and I just tend to go with the ones that have these beautiful vintage vibes versus the ones that are kind of more plain. Thank you. Yes, it is a cute idea, right? So, and it has all this gorgeous molding that came with it, her fat little feet, and then these little cute pieces right here. And then I removed the hardware that was on her, and I'm going to be applying, I don't have it with me. I'm going to be applying some really beautiful drops. Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome, Catherine. Yes, I'm always happy to give some tips and things like that, especially when you see these beautiful vintage pieces and you want one, and then you just know how you can utilize them in your own home, right? So that always makes it like amazing just to be able to do those things. So I painted her, like I said, in this beautiful sawmill gravy, which is it looks white, but it's like a light gray white. It's a beautiful neutral. If you are looking to have something in your home that is neutral and you are wanting to paint, fluff is a beautiful color. It's a little more whiter, and sawmill gravy is just a little more grayer and a little bit deeper. So it really is beautiful. You can leave it beautifully done like this if you're looking for just a one coat finish, or you can add some character to it. And that's what I'm going to teach you guys how to do today. So I'm kind of torn. I always change my mind last second is what I do. I'm kind of known for that. So what I think I was originally going to do, I was going to paint it in putty and blend with pine cone and sawmill gravy. So I changed my mind, and I'm not going to use putty because I want to use more warmer tones, like cooler tones. And so what I mean by that is I want to go with just a little bit more, still in the neutral side, but more pull towards like the earthy tones. And so I pulled out dried sage, which literally is like almost the same color as putty. Do you see the difference? But this is just a little cooler and this is a little warmer. So I want to stay away from that warm, and I want to go just a little cooler. All right. Hello, hello. Dixie Belle is on. All right. So now we are going to do chalk mineral paint and Spanish moss. And so I think this is a beautiful color and it pairs really well. If you're new to blending paint, you can paint colors that are like so that it's easier to blend. So I am going to try. I have really tiny hands. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this, but I'm going to try to hold them all together. Let's see if I can do it. So these are my three colors, right? And they look very similar. So this is going to blend like a dream. And like I said, if you're new to blending, that's the way to go till you learn and you can start blending in some harder colors. So this is sawmill gravy. So I'm going to paint that, like a little wet coat of that on there so that I can have something for my paint to blend into. And then I'll be painting dried sage, and I will be going in with Spanish moss, and I'm going to have a wild card. And what that means is I just like to have a darker color to shade with, and I will be going in with pine cone. If I have time to do that today, if I can get it to dry up enough, I had my heat gun somewhere. I'll try to get that today as well, just to kind of show you how you can pull in just a little bit of a darker color just to give it some moodiness. And I will be painting this. I always go with my darker color, whatever darker color I'm using, I use on the bottom to ground my piece. So I will be painting the bottom in maybe pine cone, or I might just kind of like shade it to kind of age it, or like distress it looking. We'll see. Well, let's just see where it takes us. So I'm just going to move you guys just over just a little bit so you guys can see where I'm going to be starting. I'm going to take my shoes off because it's hard to paint with shoes on for some reason for me. I like to be barefoot. I have my water bottle. There's just clear water in here. I have a rag that I will just be using to offload my paint on. I love sawmill gravy. My last piece I did in sawmill gravy and put special walnut stain on top and wiped it back. Oh my gosh, yes. Walnut is my favorite stain. If any of you follow me, you know it's like the only color stain that I use on my tops. It's like my favorite go-to. I love it so much. I will either go very light, or walnut is just my favorite. So the top, I will be staining in walnut, and the top looks really messy. And so why I choose to like just paint over this, and I don't care, I always do my tops last. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to share with you. I do my tops last because I put all my stuff up there, okay? And so I can't be bothered with like putting stuff on the floor because I'm gonna spill it. So I put my stuff on top of my pieces of furniture, and then I always do this last, and this sands right off. So I'm gonna sand this anyway. So it doesn't matter if I get a little paint on here. So I will seal this piece of furniture after I'm done, and then I will sand the very top, and then I will stain it, and then I will seal it. That's always my very last thing that I do before it's done. So if that answers any questions, and let's just go right on into it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to open up my sawmill gravy, just give it a little, I mixed it up already, but I just want to make sure that it's good and mixed up. And let me move that over there. And I have out some paint brushes. I just grabbed a few. I grabbed a couple minis, and I grabbed some of the oval smalls. And then since I am going to be using different colors, I'm kind of going to go for usually I go, last time I was live with you guys, I went for a nice soft blend. Today I want to do a cloudy blend. And how I achieve that cloudy blend is with my best thing. I love this brush. This brush is my favorite for blending cloudy blends. So I'll show you how to do that. And let's get to it. You guys ready? I'm so excited. All right, we're going to open up our dry sage, which is very light. It almost looks like French linen, but it's a little bit greener than French linen. Okay, and then we're going to open up my brand new Spanish moss. I use this color a lot. And see, like, it's almost the same color. Like, it's just a hue different. So I may not use the dried sage. I may just use the Spanish moss. We'll see how that works. And then, of course, we're going to be using pine cone. Make sure I can open that. And pine cone is this gorgeous, gorgeous color. Who has tried our best dang brush? Yes, who's tried the best dang brush? It is my favorite. I like to say it's my microphone because I'm just a giant dork. It's just what I do. So those that follow me will know shenanigans are with me. All of them. All of the shenanigans. All right. So what I like to do when I am painting, I'm just going to take my mini, and I like to use just clear water, and I give it a good mist, not more than that. And then I like to work in that water. And what that does is it allows my paintbrush to be a little damper to make my paint go on a little smoother. Also, if there's any dust or anything that's crazy in here that I may have missed, a chunk of paint or something like that, I can feel it on my hand, and I'm removing it so I'm not placing it in my paint. So I'm just going to very lightly, I'm going to go into my sawmill gravy. I'm not looking for coverage with this. All I want to do is I want to give this an area to have my paint be able to blend into, because you can't blend dry paint, right? And again, I'm just going to wet just a little bit, and then I'm going to come right into this area first, and we're going to blend half, because I will use the other half for content, but I will do half with you guys today, just so you guys can see. All right, and so I'm just going to come on down, and like I said, I'm not doing this for coverage. I just want it to be a good base for my paint to stick to, and I'm just putting a very, very thin coat of that paint on here. And it's about that much paint at a time. You can always add more. I like to work lighter than heavier, just for that reason. All right, and we're gonna just come to about the keyhole right here in the middle. And we can work in small sections. If it's easier for you to blend in small sections, if you're newer to blending, that's great, and you absolutely can do that. All right, and so that's about where I'm going with that. I know you can't see it because it's the same exact color that I just put on there. All right, and I'm gonna offload my brush on my trusty little towel that I have going on here. And then I'm going to move that sawmill gravy over. And I think I'm gonna make an executive decision and I'm just gonna omit this dried sage. I feel like it's just too close to these three colors. So, and I don't want it to get muddy. Um, so we're just gonna, I call it plot twist. We're gonna just do a little plot twist. So we're gonna come in now with our Spanish moss, and I'm gonna do the same exact thing with just this little round brush. Okay, this is the oval small. We're getting some water on there. All right. And then I am very carefully just gonna do a light little dip, about that much, okay? And everybody blends differently. You can, like, when I'm doing a cloudy blend, it looks like camouflage. It looks a hot mess. You're gonna be like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? But I promise you it comes out beautiful. I absolutely promise. So I'm just gonna add just a couple dots here and there. Okay, I know it looks crazy, but I promise you it comes out. All right, so now this is my Spanish moss brush, so I'm just gonna lay that right there. And now I'm going to come in with my other color. So we're going to use our other oval small, and you can use whatever paintbrush you want. All these brushes are doing is just transferring my paint to my piece. That's all. All my blending is going to be done with my best dang brush. Okay. And now we're just going to add a little bit. All right. And if I feel like I need more, if you feel like, oh, okay, I don't want it to be too dark, you can just add in a little couple splotches here and there of your base color paint to make sure that it has a softer kind of blend. Now, that looks crazy, right? Don't worry. You have to trust the process. Give it a good mist. Just a little bit. We don't want to drench it. I'm going to take my best dang brush. I'm going to mist that. You can't blend dry paint, right? Do the same thing. We're going to work that in. I'm going to wet it just a little bit more. I like to wet the edges of my brushes too, and not just the center. Okay, now this is where you're going to have your rag right here ready to offload. I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to do small circles. Again, trust this process, okay? Don't overwork your paint. Just work in small circles. Now I'm going to take it and I'm going to offload because I have a good bit of paint on there. And this brush will hold a lot of paint. So you're just going to offload. And then we're going to work again in some small circles. You can catch your edges this way, however you want. Work in small circles. Trust the process. Promise you it's going to turn out beautiful. Okay, we're going to offload. If you feel like your paint is dragging, add more water. If you feel like you have a nice even blend, you're good to go. Okay, I'm getting in these little nooks to make sure that matches. And then I'm just going to drag my brush across. All right, see how that's like a nice, soft, cloudy blend. Now what I'm going to do, offload. Dry paintbrush, nothing on her, nothing at all. What I like to do with my dry paintbrush is I will go over my blend to soften that blend and kind of pull it together. So now we're just going to very lightly. And if there's any areas that I feel like need to be smoothed out just a little bit more, I can do that. And like this little area right here. And then there's a piece of lint. It's very subtle, but you can see the movement in there. If you want to go in darker, you can. This is just my first blend. If I don't like my first blend, you can go in with a second, a third, a fourth, a 25th, however many times until you think that it's going to get right. Okay, now I'm going to offload this dry brush because I don't want wet paint on there, okay? Because we're simply just going to, this is all this is doing is this is my neutral brush. So I'm going to move this over here so that I know that that is a safe place for it. All right, so now we're going to move along. And we're going to do the same exact thing, and we're going to see how we like her, right? All right, so now we're going to come back in, and you can mist your piece if you like. I prefer to mist my brush when I am doing this because I want to make sure that I get my paint on first so I know what's water and what's not. And we're just going to come in and do little swirls so I can get this little would you bend nice and covered. Just mist it really lightly to keep our paint wet. I come in, I feel like you guys can't see. Let me slide back and move you guys over just a little bit. There you guys go. All right, now we're gonna get this bottom area. We're gonna mist. All right, and we're gonna stop here because I'm gonna do that corner last. All right, and so now I'm gonna come in, my pine cone. We're gonna come in with Spanish moss again. And we're just gonna add some Spanish moss where I feel, oops, I forgot we were stopping, just kidding. I'll fix that later, not a big deal. I got ahead of myself. Usually I will blend a larger area at a time, but for demonstration purposes, it's a little easier. Okay. Now I will come back with my sawmill gravies for a little bit more dimension. Okay. I'm just gonna add on in there. I'm just gonna draw a line right there so I know where I can stop. All right. Now I'm gonna give this a good mist so our paint stays workable. Take our brush, offload, make sure there's nothing on there, and then I'm gonna give it a good little mist. All right, and then we're just gonna dive right in. All right, we're gonna offload. And we're just doing small circles. It doesn't matter which way you go. And it just provides that beautiful moodiness that I really love. If you want to go a little darker, you can add chocolate into the mix. I like this softer blend that I have going on. I think it's really pretty. And then I also will do some shading around these pieces and add some wax to kind of give it some dimension. Just going to come around. I'm just going to drag anything out that looks too like splotchy, right? Maybe I want a little more darker down here because I'm not digging that. So let's get it a little darker. You can just add where you want it and just blend it on out. And it gives it just a little bit more of a warmer hue. And now, if I like the way that looks, I'm going to go ahead and grab my neutral brush. We're very lightly just going to soften that blend. Again, all this will be shaded, so it's going to look kind of flat right now. This is just my foundation of where everything is going to lie. I will add wax in all of this. It's going to look beautiful. I'm just going to offload my brush. And now we're going to do this little corner. I'm going to move you guys in so you guys can see that corner. We're going to come back in with our sawmill gravy. Okay, we got about that much on our brush. I'm going to give it a good little mist. I totally didn't miss the brush because I was looking at the camera. Let's try that again. All right, so now we're just going to add. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of go over the area that I was in before, and that's okay. All right, and now we're going to go back in, check our brushes. We're going to go back in with Spanish moss. And we're just going to add it wherever. And then we're going to go back in with our lovely pine cone, which is our darker color. Just like that. And then we're just going to dab, 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 wherever I feel like it needs to be dabbed. Okay. And then I'm going to go back in one more time with that sawmill gravy and just add some heavier spots that I want just a little lighter. Okay. We're going to grab our besting brush I'm going to offload it just to make sure that I got, see how much paint, like there's just so much paint that gets held in this brush. Now I'm going to mist it. All right, and then we're just gonna work in circles. Okay, I'm gonna take my brush, I'm gonna offload because that was a lot of paint. And then we're just gonna come on in. And I will get up in here. You can kind of drag your brush towards the top to get up underneath that lip. And then work out in circles. And then you can always come back in here. And what I'll do with my brush is I will just come with whatever paint is left on and blend out the top. That's kind of how I get that nice cohesive look. Don't try to replicate it later because you will not get those colors the way that you want it. And so it just kind of gives you that warmth that you're looking for. Okay, that is another little secret. So you don't have to have a ton of paint everywhere. If you just want to offload, you're more than welcome to just kind of brush it in there. And it doesn't have to be perfect. So you can work on different levels when you're working on a piece. And we're going to work down here again. My brush is dragging a little. We're going to add a little bit more water. All right. And that's how I'm going to leave that for the moment. I'm going to come back in and wet that just a little bit so it helps my paint carry on. And when I blend the sides, I'll do the same thing. And then that way it fits perfectly because we already had those blended colors on there, and you don't have to worry about trying to replicate after you've blended because it's impossible. You're never going to get it. So just leave it alone. We're going to take our dry brush and then we're going to come in very softly. I like to go up and down, and then I do nice, long, even strokes. All right, and it's nice and soft. It's a very subtle, cloudy blend. I'm going to offload my brush. And we're going to back it up so that you guys can see. And that's how she looks, okay? She's very subtle. There's a little more white over there. So if I decide to do a second blend on her, I can. And it will add just another little layer of dimension. Now, if you like the way this looks, that's fine, but you can also go in for different layers. Now I'm going to turn this chest and I'm going to show you guys how I blend on the sides of my pieces because I do a little differently than I do on the front. It's not much different and it's not anything crazy, but I'm going to turn this piece and I'm going to show you how to get the side because you want to get that uniform look wrapped all the way around your piece. Okay, and might as well do it now while you have it out so that you get the entire thing. This thing's heavy. Ugh. All right, hold on. I got to stand up. I thought I could turn her all at once, but I can't. She's heavy. She's a stout little thing. All right, there we go. Now you guys can see perfectly. And we'll get the sides. Okay, so I have to grab my brushes because I can't reach that far away. All right, and we're going to go ahead and with our sawmill gravy, I'm going to wet my brush because it's been sitting there for a minute now. All right, and this is a larger area, so I'm going to just go in with a bigger spectrum of paint, and I'm just going to wet my brush really good. I will start in the middle, and I will offload in areas, so that way I can spread that product out, and I'm not lobbing it all in one spot on the edge. All right, and then I am going to wet that down pretty good. And you just want to be able to thin that paint out on that entire side very lightly, a light coat, not anything crazy. And then a very light hand at the end for finishing strokes. Okay. We're going to go back in with our beautiful dried sage, or Spanish moss, excuse me. And we're just going to add and we go in with our darker pine cone. couple spots here and there. And now I'm going to go back in with my summer gravy just to make sure I can keep some light in here too so it's not so heavy. Grab our wonderful brush, wet that. I'm going to offload just a little bit to make sure there's nothing in there. And we're just going to work that in. And you can kind of go wherever you want with it. I'm going to offload because I don't want it to get muddy. I'm going to offload again. And I'm just going to kind of drag across the bottom. That's a little heavier for me, so we're going to add just a little bit of light. Offload. Okay. She looks a little crazy. We're just going to leave her there. Offload all that paint. Grab our nice dry brush. I want the moodiness on her, but I'm just smoothing it out a little bit. Up and down, back and forth. I can spread out those little darker areas. This is going to be your best friend. She's your secret weapon right here. You can just kind of fan her out. Okay, now I'm going to offload this brush. There's a good bit of paint on there. And very soft, like no pressure. When I am painting, I hold my brush like this. When I'm doing my finishing strokes, I hold my brush like this because I don't want like any pressure on it. So it's like very soft pressure, not anything crazy, just enough. And that's perfect. That's, I think, how I want her. I think she looks really good for the first blend. And then you can take, oh my leg. And like I said, you can come in on the bottom. You can blend your bottom. Like I'll show you how you can do that. You can just come in here, add your colors wherever you want, and make sure you guys can see that. You cannot, let's move you down without dropping my phone because I'm really good for that. Okay, now we're gonna come in on this bottom piece and just add in paint. If you want to blend it, you don't have to, but if you want to blend it, I'm gonna show you how. Add some dark. You can carry your blended finish or you can make it solid. Don't feel like you can't, or you can do it however you want. However you want. All right, we're gonna grab our brush. I'm just gonna mist it a little bit, and we're just gonna blend it. Blending on legs is a little different. It's a little trickier, but it's not hard. You just have to know how you want your colors to fall and lie. And then that has that beautiful blended finish still. You kind of just go back and forth. You can do circles. It doesn't matter, however you want to do it. I'm literally just fanning my brush up, and then I'm just gonna kind of work it around how I want it to look. And it's still very soft and blended. You're carrying all those same colors over. I'm gonna grab the inside of this because I will forget if I don't do it now. Okay, let me grab the inside here. Okay, now I'm gonna take this brush, I'm gonna wet what paint is on there because there's a lot of paint in there. And remember to grab this edge. And that way it still has all of those same blended colors on this piece. Now you can take your brush again And just kind of smooth out any areas that you feel like need to be smoothed out. Ta-da! And that's it, guys. Like how simple and easy. You could do a nice, beautiful little cloudy blend on a piece. And I guess we can do this front crossbar. Let me move it back over. Let me slide her back around. So that's the side. We'll see if the front is dry enough to do a second coat of blending so you guys can see the difference if you guys want to. Okay, now, all right, it's dry enough. Dry enough. All right, let's move her over and bring her back in so you guys can see. All right, there we go. Yeah, now you can see my floor is wet. I want my feet to be cold. Okay, so we're gonna come back in with our colors. Now, I would recommend that you wait before you rush a project like I am, but I'm live, and so I wanna make sure that you guys can see what she looks like. Okay. So if I want this to be a little darker, I just kind of laid my colors out where I want them. Now, when you're going back in for your second blend, you are not going to go ahead and do what I did before with the sawmill gravy. You're going to omit that step. You're going to grab your paint, and you're going to decide, where do I want the lighter colors to be? Where do you want your highlight to be? Okay. Here's our like neutral color. All right. And then I like my pieces on the bottom to be darker because I feel like it grounds my piece of furniture. So I'm going to go a little heavier than I will up here with that color. And this is pine cone. Okay. I am going to mist very oh so lightly because I do not want to reactivate all of the paint that I just put on there. So I'm just misting just a little bit. Again, this would be an ideal perfect world. This would be completely dry. You can let your paint dry for 2 hours and you can go back and do this again. For me, I don't have that time because you guys don't want to wait 2 hours, do you? No. So we're going to mist our brush and then we're just going to come on in and we're going to give this that nice little second blend. And we're going to get it more moody this time. You're going to see the colors kind of have that moodiness to it. Offload. I'm just going to get a little bit more water. If you feel your paint starting to pull, you need to add more water. Okay, add just a little bit more water. This corner is a little heavier than I'd like it to be, so you just add some of the lighter color. I'm going to offload my brush a little bit. I'm going to mist my brush, and we're going to come on in. I'm just going to kind of dab. Again, I will do all kinds of wax to make that look how I want it to look. But you see how you see the different dimensions in here, and it kind of just is pulling it together. I think that's really pretty. Maybe a little more her. Okay. All right, I think this is where I have to stop. My paint is wet. I don't want to overwork her. Okay, let's grab our nice neutral brush. Very oh so lightly. Smooth that baby out. You don't want to create drag marks, so you want to come in here as light-handed as possible when you are blending your paint. And we're just smoothing out any edges. Again, this is now a different color, so we're going to take our brush. See the difference? It's definitely a different color than we had, so don't forget to grab your top. And if you were blending the feet, you can do the same thing there too. So that's the difference from there to there on the first and second coat of the blend. This is still too wet. I don't want to mess with that because I'm going to re-pull my paint out. But I wanted to just show you the difference when you are blending, how you can make it look so pretty. So let's back you up just a little bit. And it just looks a little more cohesive. Like if you can come in and you can like, with waxes and stuff like that, like what I like to do is I just kind of like to get a good background, a map of where I'm going to put my colors just to lay them out. And then I know I can go back in again later with all of the fun things. You can even use Dixie Dirt. If you guys haven't tried that, that's an amazing product. You can use easy peasy spray wax in your little areas, just a little bit. And then you can put in your Dixie Dirt and then you brush it off and you'll create all that nice shadow. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that on this piece. That would be fun. So, and I also want to talk to you guys about something. I have some exciting news. So, Dixie Belle is now the proud owners of Scrubby Soap. So how exciting is that? Scrubby Soap, if you have not used it, it is, the only one I'm missing is the lemon. So it comes in orange. Oh wait, no, it comes in orange and lemon lime. I think these are the two flavors that it comes in. Flavors, like you're going to eat them. The 2 cents that they come in. And so these are the most amazing things. I use these all of the time. They come in here. You can take them out if you want to wash your paintbrushes. Yes, Jeannie. And they smell so yummy. I leave mine in the container and I will run warm water over this. I rinse all of the paint out of my brushes first, and then I will take my paintbrush and I will scrub, 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 and do little circles, and I'll rinse out my brush. And then I will do that again. And then this just gets all of those little, like, I'm notorious. I will have dried up chunks of paint on my brushes always because like I do lives and I sit here and I talk to you guys. And so my brushes aren't being rinsed off and taken care of as perfectly because after my live, I still will be using these brushes to record content for, you know, my other social medias. So these are absolutely amazing to use and have in your arsenal to make sure that you can get your paintbrushes. And, you know, these are your biggest investment, right? You want to make sure that you take care of these babies. These babies are amazing. I have had some of these brushes I've had for over 5 years and they are still in pristine condition. And it is because I take care of them with the Scrubby Soap and make sure that I get all of that off of there. So you can definitely hop on to the Dixie Belle page and order you some Scrubby Soap. It's definitely an amazing product. I love it. I swear by it. I thought my brushes were clean and then I used Scrub, right? Seriously. So you will like rinse your brushes out with water and you're like, oh, it's totally clean. And then you use your Scrubby Soap and it just like unleashes all the yuck that's in there. And it will just keep your brushes in like impeccable condition because you just want to take care of them. My handles are always yucky, but I always make sure that this is, and you also don't want to, like when you are washing your brushes, you don't want to get a bunch of water up in here. So always make sure that when you're rinsing your brushes out, you're rinsing it from the like from the top down. You don't want to do this because that's terrible. You'll get water up in here and then the paint will run into there and it's not a good situation. I'm gonna make a little video today on washing brushes, so stay out for that. If you guys follow me on any of the social medias, you're gonna make sure that you want to see that. So I'll post that today for you guys on how to clean your brushes in lieu of Scrubby Soap Day. So I just want to say thank you so much for each and every one of you that popped on here. I greatly appreciate you taking time out of your day to come hang out with me and learn how to blend. I know this kind of looks flat right now, but like I said, we will be adding multiple layers to my pieces. This is just the very foundation base layer that we're doing of our blend. And then I will go back and add all the dimension with waxes and things like that. So if you follow over on the Dixie Belle page, you will want not to miss that. So thank you, Dixie Belle, for having me. I greatly appreciate you guys again. And I will see you next Wednesday at 10 a.m. right here, hanging out with you guys. Thank you, Jeannie, for watching. I appreciate you. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. I am Theresa Lee from NTS Design Co. I did post that in the title. Feel free to reach out to me on any social media platform and I will be sure to answer any questions. If I don't have the answers, we have a great, amazing team of brand ambassadors that I can reach out to and get those answers for you. So thank you so much, you guys. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.